The Hidden Leaf village basked under the golden glow of the setting sun, its streets alive with the chatter of villagers and the laughter of children. Yet, high atop the Hokage monument, a lone figure stood silhouetted against the crimson sky, Uzumaki Naruto, the seventh Hokage. His cerulean eyes, sharp with determination, scanned the horizon as a cold wind tousled his spiky blonde hair. Something was wrong. The chakra in the air felt heavy, oppressive, as if an unseen force was draining the very energy that sustained life. Naruto clenched his fists, his mind racing. He had faced countless enemies, mad scientists, rogue ninja, even gods, but this presence was different. It wasn't just hostile, it was hungry. A shadow stretched across the village, not cast by any cloud, but something far more sinister. His instincts screamed at him to act. Below, the villagers remained oblivious, but Naruto's trusted allies sensed it too. Uchiha Sasuke, his eternal rival and closest friend, materialized beside him in a swirl of black flames, his Sharingan already active. "You feel it too," Sasuke muttered, his voice low. Naruto nodded. "Yeah. Whatever this is, it's not playing around." Before they could strategize, the ground trembled. A fissure split the earth, and from the darkness emerged a figure wreathed in swirling black mist, a being of pure shadow, its form shifting like liquid night. Its eyes glowed an eerie violet, and when it spoke, its voice echoed as if from the depths of a void. "Uzumaki Naruto. Your chakra. It will be mine." Naruto's muscles tensed. This thing wasn't just after him, it wanted to consume him. Without hesitation, he formed a hand sign, and golden chakra erupted around him, his nine tails cloak flaring to life. Beside him, Sasuke's Rinnegan shimmered, his sword unsheathed. The shadow lunged first, its arm elongating into a spear of darkness aimed straight for Naruto's heart. Naruto pivoted, his reflexes honed by years of battle, and countered with a Rasengan, the spinning sphere of chakra colliding with the shadow's attack in a burst of energy. The force of the impact sent shockwaves through the air, but the shadow merely reformed, unharmed. Sasuke seized the opening, his blade crackling with lightning. "Chidori," he roared, driving the electrified strike into the shadow's torso. The creature shrieked, its form flickering, but then it absorbed the lightning, its body surging with stolen power. Naruto's eyes widened. "It's feeding off our attacks," he realized. The shadow grinned, its maw stretching unnaturally wide. "Your chakra is delicious," it hissed. "But I crave more." With a roar, Naruto unleashed a barrage of shadow clones, each one charging with Rasengans blazing. The shadow countered by splitting itself into tendrils, impaling the clones one by one, draining them before they could strike. Sasuke switched tactics, using his Amino Tejikara to warp behind the creature, his Susanoo's skeletal arm forming to deliver a crushing blow. The shadow dodged at the last second, retaliating with a whip-like appendage that sent Sasuke skidding back. Naruto gritted his teeth. If physical attacks weren't working, he'd have to go bigger. "Kurama, let's do this," he shouted. The nine tails chakra surged, his form expanding into the towering Baijuu mode, his tails lashing like golden flames. The shadow recoiled momentarily, then laughed. Even better, it purred. The battle escalated. Naruto fired a tailed beast bomb, the sphere of condensed energy hurtling toward the shadow. The creature didn't dodge, it opened its mouth and swallowed the attack whole. Power radiated from it, its form growing larger, more solid. "Your strength only makes me stronger," it taunted. Sasuke, panting, activated his perfect Susanoo, the colossal warrior of violet chakra rising beside Naruto. "We need to finish this fast," he said. Naruto nodded. Together, they charged, their combined might shaking the earth. But the shadow wasn't done. With a grotesque stretch of its limbs, it split into two identical entities, each one mirroring their movements. Now, it wasn't just absorbing their attacks, it was mimicking them. As the clash reached its peak, Naruto realized the terrifying truth: this enemy wasn't just a threat to him or the village. If it could eclipse chakra itself, it could unravel the very fabric of the shinobi world. And it was only getting started. The air crackled with tension as Naruto stood opposite the looming figure of the chakra eclipsing shadow, its form a swirling void of darkness that seemed to devour the very light around it. The ground beneath them was scarred from their previous clash, and Naruto's breath came in sharp bursts, his muscles coiled for the next strike. He could feel the weight of the battle pressing down on him, but his blue eyes burned with determination. "You're not getting past me," he growled, his voice steady despite the fatigue creeping into his limbs. The shadow hissed, its form rippling like ink in water before it lunged, a blur of obsidian streaks slicing through the air. Naruto barely had time to react, throwing himself to the side as the ground where he'd stood erupted in a spray of debris. He rolled to his feet, already forming hand seals. Wind style, Rasen Shuriken. The whirling sphere of chakra screamed toward the shadow, but the creature twisted unnaturally, its body splitting apart to let the attack pass harmlessly through. Naruto gritted his teeth. This thing was adapting. Across the battlefield, Sasuke's Sharingan blazed as he analyzed the shadow's movements. "It's learning our patterns," he called out, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We need to change tactics." Without hesitation, he ignited his Chidori, the crackling lightning casting jagged shadows across his face. He dashed forward, aiming for the shadow's flank, but the creature anticipated him, lashing out with a tendril of darkness that sent him skidding back. Sakura, meanwhile, had been biding her time, her fists clenched as she channeled chakra into her arms. The moment the shadow turned its attention to Sasuke, she struck. With a thunderous impact, her fist connected with the creature's side, sending shockwaves through its form. The shadow recoiled, its body flickering like a dying flame, but it quickly reformed, retaliating with a whip-like strike that sent Sakura flying. She twisted mid-air, landing in a crouch, her medical training already assessing her injuries. "It's regenerating too fast," she muttered. Naruto's mind raced. They couldn't keep this up forever, their chakra was draining, and the shadow showed no signs of weakening. Then it hit him. "We need to hit it all at once," he shouted. "A combined attack, no openings." Sasuke nodded, understanding flashing in his eyes. Sakura braced herself, knuckles cracking as she prepared to unleash her full strength. The trio moved in sync, a well-oiled machine of battle-hardened reflexes. Naruto summoned multiple shadow clones, each one weaving hand seals as they charged. Sasuke's Rinnegan flared, his Susanoo manifesting in a burst of violet energy, its skeletal fist rearing back. Sakura's chakra surged, her body glowing with raw power as she leapt into the air. The shadow writhed, sensing the impending assault, but it was too late. "Now," Naruto roared. The clones unleashed a barrage of Rasengan's, Sasuke's Susanoo fist slammed down, and Sakura's punch cratered the earth beneath the shadow. The impact was cataclysmic, a shockwave of energy tearing through the battlefield. For a moment, the shadow seemed to dissolve, its form scattering like smoke in the wind. But then, from the dissipating darkness, a single, clawed hand shot out, gripping Naruto's throat. The shadow's voice was a guttural whisper, dripping with malice. "You cannot destroy what is born from your own darkness." Naruto's eyes widened as he felt his chakra being siphoned away, his strength waning. Desperation clawed at him, he couldn't let this end here. With a final surge of willpower, he reached deep, tapping into the well of Kurama's power. Golden chakra erupted around him, burning away the shadow's grip. His markings flared, his whisker-like scars darkening as he entered his most powerful form. The shadow staggered back, its confidence wavering for the first time. "This ends now," Naruto declared, his voice resonating with the combined might of his and Kurama's spirits. He charged, his fist blazing with a Rasengan infused with natural energy. The shadow screamed as the attack connected, its form unraveling under the sheer force. Light exploded outward, purging the darkness in a blinding crescendo. As the dust settled, Naruto collapsed to one knee, his body spent. Sasuke and Sakura rushed to his side, their own exhaustion evident. The battlefield was silent save for their ragged breaths. The shadow was gone, for now. But as Naruto stared at the fading remnants of its energy, a chilling thought settled in his mind. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The air crackled with tension as Naruto stood at the edge of the battlefield, his breath ragged, his orange jacket torn and singed from the relentless onslaught. The chakra eclipsing shadow loomed before him, a swirling mass of darkness that devoured all light, all energy, all hope. Behind him, his allies lay battered, Sasuke's Sharingan flickered weakly, Sakura's healing chakra barely holding their wounds together. This was it. The final clash. The moment that would decide everything. Naruto's fists clenched, his knuckles white. The shadow pulsed, its form shifting like ink in water, mocking him. "You can't win," its voice echoed, a thousand whispers of despair. "Your chakra is mine. Your world is mine." But Naruto gritted his teeth, his blue eyes burning with defiance. "I've never backed down from a fight," he growled. "And I'm not starting now." With a roar, he surged forward, golden chakra erupting around him like a second skin. The shadow lashed out, tendrils of darkness slicing through the air, but Naruto twisted mid-stride, weaving between them with impossible speed. He formed a Rasengan in his palm, the spinning sphere of energy humming with raw power. The shadow recoiled, it knew that strike could tear it apart. But before Naruto could land the blow, the darkness split, revealing a void that swallowed his attack whole. His eyes widened. It was adapting. Sasuke staggered to his feet, his rinnegan flaring. "Idiot," he hissed, but there was no malice in his voice, only urgency. "It's feeding on your energy. You can't just overpower it." Naruto shot him a glance. "Then what do we do?" Sasuke's gaze hardened. "We hit it with something it can't absorb." A plan formed in an instant. Sakura, sensing their resolve, forced herself upright, her fists glowing green. "I'll keep it distracted," she said, her voice steady despite the pain. Without waiting for a response, she lunged, her punch cratering the ground as the shadow dodged, its attention momentarily divided. Naruto and Sasuke moved in sync, their years of rivalry forging an unspoken understanding. Naruto channeled his chakra, not into an attack, but into Sasuke, pouring his energy into the Uchiha's rinnegan. Sasuke's eyes blazed as he wove hand signs, the air itself trembling. Amaterasu. Black flames erupted, searing the shadow's form, but even those flickered as the darkness tried to consume them. It wasn't enough. Then Naruto felt it, the faintest pulse of familiar chakra deep within the shadow. Kurama's voice echoed in his mind. "It's not just absorbing chakra. It's trapping souls." Naruto's blood ran cold. That meant the people it had defeated weren't just gone. They were suffering. Rage boiled in his chest. He wouldn't let it end like this. With a desperate cry, he reached deeper than ever before, tapping into the very core of his being. The ground beneath him cracked as his chakra surged, a radiant aura of gold and crimson erupting around him. The shadow recoiled, hissing in pain. This light was too pure, too strong. Sasuke saw his chance. "Now," he shouted. Naruto didn't hesitate. He hurled himself forward, not with a Rasengan, but with his fist, clad in the combined might of his and Kurama's chakra. The shadow tried to swallow him, but the light burned through the darkness, searing it from within. For the first time, it screamed, a sound of genuine fear. Then, in one blinding flash, the shadow shattered. The void collapsed in on itself, releasing a torrent of stolen chakra, of lost souls finally freed. The battlefield fell silent. Naruto collapsed to his knees, his body spent. Sasuke slumped beside him, breathing heavily. Sakura stumbled over, her healing hands already reaching for them. "You did it," she whispered, tears in her eyes. But the cost was clear. The world had been forever changed. The shadow's defeat had unraveled ancient seals, revealing forgotten truths about chakra itself. New alliances would form. New threats would rise. But for now, as the sun finally broke through the clouds, Naruto managed a tired smile. "Yeah. We did." And in that moment, despite the battles yet to come, that was enough.